Aloha, good afternoon, everybody. Aloha, everybody. Kamaka Brown over here on the Sandwich Island Social Network. We are a 501c3 nonprofit that serves all of our global AINA, and we're glad that you joined us. We smoke kind late today, but you know what? We're running on many huni time. No worries, strawberries. Okay, thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll be talk story with you in just a moment. Thanks so much for joining us. Here we go. By the way, mahalo to Brittany Paiva. She is a girl originally from Hilo. She's living on Oahu now. She said, you can use our music for your theme song, Uncle. So up there in your upper left-hand corner, you'll see music by Brittany Paiva. Mahalo, Brittany. You know what? Before we start, yeah, I want to call your attention on the left-hand side of the screen. Huh? You know, I was only about, I think I was like 10 or 11 years old. I was 11 years old back in 1958, and had this song called "Susie Darling" by this guy from Punahou. He was a Punahou grad. His name was Robin Luke, and that song released in 1958 sold 3 million copies. And the question is, where is Punahou grad Robin Luke today? You're going to find that out next week on the Aloha Friday show. We will track down Robin Luke, and we're going to talk to him about the song and about what he's been doing all these years. That is next week, Friday, on the Aloha Friday show. Robin Luke. Hey, how's that? You ever wonder? I don't know if you remember Robin Luke, but we tracked him down, and it'll be good fun. My name is Kamaka Brown. Thank you so much for joining us. And we get so special because we're going to Moku Okeawe today, and we're going to talk story with Anna and Danny Akaka. So special that they're able to carve out some time with us because they are very, very busy. They always on the go like that. And so please welcome to the Sandwich Island Social Network Aloha Friday show, Anna and Danny Akaka. Woo! How's it, you guys?
Aloha. Aloha kakahito, kamaka.
You know what? We're running on many huni time because the many hunis get different kind of time than us guys, you know.
Yes.
So anytime we get guests, the many hunis want to add their they have a signature. You know, usually when ali'i they blow the poo, yeah. The Portuguese in the back, the Portuguese many hunis. You see the tree in the back. They stay hanging out. They like blow the Portuguese conch shell. So to welcome you guys, here is the Portuguese conch shell. You ready? Okay, that's the Portuguese.
That's
And
okay.
I like that. Portuguese poo.
Yeah, and then Gewanaro, and he's still on the other side, on the other branch. That's the wife. She wants to get into. So here's her Portuguese conch shell. There you go. So now you have been officially welcome.
Yes.
I know you guys going, what did we get ourselves into with this Kamaka Brown? I don't know.
Yeah. And by the way, you know, Brother Alan, I just sent him a text that we're talking story with you.
Yes.
And he wants to send his aloha to you and to let everybody know that he will be performing in the Bay Area from September 25th to the 28th.
Oh, beautiful. That's good. I will reach out to him, and if we can help promote that show up there, we have lots of friends in the Bay Area. You know, I had Alan on the Aloha Friday show not too long ago. There's us two guys talking story. There's us two. Yeah, we had good fun. We had good fun on the show. And by the way, we love if you have a popoki that can walk across the keyboards, or you have a dog that can. We want to meet the other furry members. We love the other members of the family. We don't mind the chickens in the background. We love it. So it's all good.
I know we have all of our
menagerie
of animals here.
Oh, that's a fancy word.
The manakuke, the mongoose doesn't run in eat.
You know, menagerie. Oh, that's one big word. my mother used to say, "We get kukapaila. We get kukapaila animals. We get way too
Kukapila,
much."
right,
That's a.
right.
I don't think that's Hawaiian, but I think that's pidgin kukapaila. That means you get plenty. So
Yeah.
Actually, it is Hawaiian.
The pile is high.
Yeah, paila is
Kukapila.
yeah, paila is pile.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Ku
okay, okay.
is something that is
Yeah. So it's
mounded or
a
standing. Yeah.
Oh, so
So
that
it's a
is
Hawaiian
kukapaila.
term.
yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
Kukapila.
you see, only 5 minutes in, I have improved my very bad olelo, and I've learned I've learned that
But
kuka.
now, not to be mistaken with kukai
Yeah,
and pile.
yeah.
Oh no.
It's just kukapila.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Um, just to say thank you so much. We are talking with Danny Akaka and his lovely wife Anna.
She's
Uh,
right here on the side, straightening up things.
okay,
So,
alrighty,
so
good.
she's here.
Keep
I'm here.
keep things straight.
Yeah,
so
just kind of things.
Doing the
so
Switching.
housekeeping things.
so Danny, I know that you come from a very musical family, a family that was
Mm.
committed to so much involvement in the community. Your uncle Abraham Akaka, your dad Daniel Akaka Senior, um, and so these are strong influences in your life as you're growing up, huh?
May Pulali.
A-
Yeah.
How did
Mhm.
how did that mold your life or those influences? How did that happen for you?
I think even before I came out of my mother's womb, and not only me, but my other siblings too, that there was a lot of music, around. Dad was the choir leader for the Kawaiahao choir. And, he was involved with music quite a bit. And we would go down, or at least dad and mom would go down to Kawaiahao Church maybe once, maybe twice a week for choir practice in the evening. So I think even before we were born, music surrounded us. But of course, growing up, and that was in Honolulu, you know, we'd whether it was at church or wherever we were with dad and with mom as well, there was music. So I think it just kind of was a big influence for us,
Yeah.
and not only myself, but for my sister Milani and other brothers, Gerard, Alan, and Nikki boy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So pretty organic and almost part of your DNA, huh? As you're
Yeah.
growing up, you mentioned your your family over here too. Um,
Oh, yes.
and so of course your brother Alan in the back on the right hand side, which I had the pleasure of
Mhm,
talking with,
mhm.
and there's your mom and dad and your siblings too.
Yeah.
Beautiful
So
family.
my
Yeah.
sister Milani is sitting by dad, and then right next to me is my brother Gerard, who was a doctor for, I don't know if it was like 30 years for Queens Hospital, but prior to that, he was at
He was
Waianae Comprehensive.
Uh-huh.
So he retired in December, and but he also played music. He's mainly a bass player, but he also plays guitar as well.
Hmm. Hmm. So Anna, you are Oahu girl, Big Island girl. What about your family now?
actually Hilo born. Hilo born
Hilo.
St. Joseph's School initially through
Hmm.
elementary and intermediate, and then our family moved to Oahu, and that's where when I entered Kamehameha in the ninth grade, primarily because our family moved there. But my dad, my maiden name is Louis Kwan, and
Hmm.
my dad and his brothers all played music,
Uh-huh.
and played with Uncle Billy Hewlin, with Fred Punahoa,
Uncle
um,
Fred
Uncle
Punahoa, yeah.
Fred. And, of course, in the Hilo community, there was the Haile Church members, the Brown family, the Kalima family. They were all family friends to the Louis Kwan family. Within our family, immediate siblings were not as musical, although we were surrounded by music by our parents and aunts and uncles. Um, that part only went down to maybe one brother in particular, but he
Uh,
doesn't sing professionally. But we were all exposed to music from a very early age. Just my mother played the piano and dad played ukulele and guitar. There was a upright bass that was around the house as well, and of course family gatherings with the aunts and uncles.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hilo in particular, real typical uncle under the mango tree,
Kani kapila.
hula and hula, and of course talking story. It all
Yeah.
started with a visit and talking story, and then pretty soon a pot of stew is on the table. Then pretty soon other family members are coming home from work, and you've got the instruments that come out and music, and of course if somebody knows that hula, they're going to be up and dancing.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You mentioned the Kalima family. That's my ohana. Pat Kalima, Jesse Kalima, Square Kalima. That's all my mom's side, all cousins. So
Ah,
we used to go up.
yes.
We used to go up Hilo, stay at Pat Kalima's house, and
Oh,
smoking
yeah.
time. So yeah, the Kalimas, of course, Lehua Kalima with Naleo, all wonderful, wonderful family, as well. Yeah. So both went to Kamehameha.
Mhm.
Let me see. Class of 72 and class of 71 over here. You both. Um,
Mhm.
did you know each other in high school? How did?
Uh, we did. We were
Well,
friends in school.
but that's where we met. Was at
Yes, we
high
met at
school
Kamehameha,
Kamehameha.
and you know, it was through his cousin, Reverend Akaka's twin daughters, Sally and
Oh.
Sandy, that we met because I was really good friends with them. Truth be known, if you know one Akaka, you get to know all the Akakas. We are very, very close family with church. And so the weekends were always family gatherings
Hmm.
for them at church and music and fellowship and CE, Christian Endeavor.
Hmm.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now you mentioned Louis Kwan here. I went to school. I went to Roosevelt, on the
Oh,
slopes of Papakulea, and I went to
mhm.
school. I went to school with, I think it was a William Louis Kwan. I'm Roosevelt 65.
Oh, yes, Billy,
Oh, Billy. Yeah.
cousin
Yeah.
Billy. So his dad, which called by his
Chinese name.
Chinese name, Uncle Sunlan. I don't even know what his English name is.
Tony.
Oh, Tony, Anthony. Anthony, that's right.
Yeah.
So Billy is a son of my dad's brother,
Ah.
um, Tony. And Tony was the one that played music in Honolulu.
Yeah. When we
Right.
were with Aloha Airlines, we were part of the sales promotion team, and our job was traveling around the world and promoting Hawaii through our music and hula. So some of our hula dancers were our flight attendants for Aloha Airlines, and
Yeah.
I got to play music with many of the old time entertainers and musicians during that time. And so it was an amazing. Um,
Amazing time. It's funny you mentioned Aloha Airlines because that family picture was actually taken on the steps of an Aloha Airlines
Wow.
aircraft. At the time, there were only 9 out of the 10 siblings in my family, um, with my parents and my 4 older brothers and 4 younger siblings, my sisters and my 2 sisters and my 2 brothers. Um, all of them except for one live in Honolulu. Unfortunately, one passed,
Ah.
Timmy. But he was
Yeah.
well known in the community, um, both through Bishop Museum and the archaeological anthropological work that he did,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the legal work that he did to establish access to shoreline and mountain trails and
Wow.
areas in Hawaii. He was um, pivotal in setting that up for Hawaii.
That's beautiful. I have this picture here. I would like to ask you,
Oh,
Danny. You see this picture? Tell us what memories this brings for you.
Well, Kumu John Kaimikawa, um, we actually, met um, not in my younger life, but much older. In fact, after
in a
we
young adult life, actually,
went through
after
high school and college.
we actually had our family here in Kona, and he was visiting with his halau, and one of the halau members, or actually a couple of halau members,
Yeah.
Bueno
Oh,
Wainwright
yeah.
Piana, was a part of his one of the original dancers, as well as
The
Larry.
Halau Kukuna
Yeah,
Okala.
as well as Larry Ursua, and Larry's daughter Jennifer and our daughter Kalei were classmates. And when they came here, they needed some help, and so asked if we had certain. Anyway, we got to meet him and help them with things that they needed here on island. But that started an amazing relationship with us being really embraced and being a part of the halau in
Mm,
terms of him teaching and sharing much of the spiritual work that we do today are really foundations from John.
beautiful.
And and the hula we
Yeah.
continued in with Larry Ursua, but the style and the lineage of work that we do in terms of cultural spirituality,
Mhm.
the foundations are from John,
Wow.
And
That,
from the island of Molokai.
right? His
Molokai.
lineage, Kahuna of Molokai.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are the
Ah,
oh God,
Ah.
boy.
oh my.
So, tell us about these two gentlemen, Danny.
Oh, gosh. Trying to recall the name.
Genesee.
This Keli'i Toa? Taua?
Is that Kili?
Wait. No, that's not
No, that's
Kili.
not Kili'i.
Yeah.
That's
Huh?
Uh,
Kimo
oh,
and
that's right. Kimokeo.
another voyaging friend. His father was a minister.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
Lee. Yeah.
Yeah,
Takwa
Takwali's
Lee.
son.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, shucks.
so
He
this
was one
was
of the. Uh huh.
so this was with the
So
voyaging Polynesian voyaging group.
yes, and but also prior to that, it was and during the time Kimokeo, he did a documentary of paddling from this island
Ah,
to Maui through across the Alinui Haha Channel, and that led to I thought, oh, let's continue on to the next island and the next island, and they went all the way. They
Each
paddled,
year they would.
added another leg and another distance and goal all the way to Kure
wow,
Atoll.
wow,
There's a
wow, wow.
documentary that's out.
That's
Yeah, that,
outstanding.
Um,
that was amazing.
yeah. So again, filled with voyaging, with paddling, with church as
Mhm.
well, and um, families.
Yeah,
Yeah.
although we didn't paddle with them,
To the blessing.
we did the blessing for that
That
first leg of the voyage from Mokuokeave to Maui,
yeah.
and that kind
Uh-huh.
of started out this annual, I guess, voyaging, taking them to
They
the farthest
farthest reaches,
reaches of
west
the
reaches of Hawaii.
archipelago of the Hawaiian Islands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It
Wow.
started off with just one leg. That's all they were going to do.
Mhm.
And they just said, "Hey, how about if we, go to the next island and the next island?" And then yeah, it was phenomenal. And the distance that they covered, and this was not voyaging canoe. This was paddling,
Wow.
Yeah.
paddling canoe. Yeah,
My
it was
goodness.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking
Especially when
about
they have crew members.
voyaging, Danny, you also had time on the Hokulea as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Our first voyage, yes,
Oh,
was that voyage in 1995, which was the West Coast voyage on the Hokulea.
and Hawaiiloa.
Well,
Well,
Hawaii,
we voyaged
Hawaii
on.
law was, yeah, yeah,
It was the West Coast voyage. Really was with Hokulea and Hawaiiloa. The goal, the purpose of that voyage was to take both the canoes up and went into Seattle. They were shipped up by the R.J. Pfeiffer from after they were
from
in
Honolulu
Honolulu. They had
to
completed a
Seattle
South Pacific voyage,
uh-huh.
done the closing ceremonies, loaded up on the R.J. Pfeiffer, and then barged up, not
to
to
Seattle,
Seattle, where they
yeah,
were
shipped up, yeah,
yeah, they're the masts were again placed, and the two canoes were up there. The goal or the purpose was really to return with Hawaiiloa. She was a gift of logs that were gifted by the Tlingit and the
and Haida
Haida tribe of Alaska.
Oh my.
And because of their gift, that we were able, Hawaii, the Polynesian Voyaging Society was able to create a double hulled voyaging canoe of logs of Sitka spruce, as opposed to the fiberglass hulls of Hokulea. And this was an opportunity to return this gift of logs, now rebirthed as a Polynesian voyaging canoe,
Oh my
back to
goodness.
Alaska, and to say mahalo.
Mahalo. Oh,
Mahalo for this gift that you have given to the people of Hawaii. The trees, um, as they were felled, closed their life as trees in Alaska, but were reborn as the hulls of a Polynesian voyaging canoe. And there she returned to say mahalo to the Tlingit and Haida people of
whew.
tribe.
This chicken skin story right there. That's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh
I
my
mean, there's
goodness.
many chicken skin stories along the voyage, and not only that voyage, but all the voyages that we were a part of. And my position on the canoe, as you saw in the photo, was as the protocol officer. So,
Ah,
it's part of the protocol that before you even touch land, you have to announce who you are and where you come from. And that's part of the protocol. And so it was all through chants, through genealogical chants, to make that announcement. And so that photo that you saw was after we had gone or come down the coast and under the Golden Gate Bridge, and we were heading to Chrissy Field. Now, one thing on this voyage, which was also sponsored by the Bishop Museum, was that we were told that we can, uh, I guess,
Sail.
sail and get fairly close, but not to land the canoe, not to beach the canoe. Now, our captain at the time was Captain Kimo Lyman, and his brother Kavika Lyman was also
On
the
board with,
canoe as well. So, we saw as we were outside of Chrissy Field, literally thousands of people along the shoreline. And so, you know, Captain Kimo turned to me and he said, Caniela, what do you think we should do? There's all these people waiting on the shore, and here we are out in San Francisco Bay. I said, we gotta go. We gotta go in. That's, we have all of our friends and family there. So Kimbo called the tugboat, which was called
The Coast Pilot.
Coast Pilot,
Tony
who was
Carter was the captain and owner of the Coast Pilot. She was our escort
and
vessel.
they were towing us. We were under tow. So Kimo called the Coast Pilot and said, drop the line. And they went, what?
Drop the tow line?
He said, yeah, just drop the line. And you know what? As soon as they did that, the canoe headed right towards Chesterfield and touched the shore. Now, what I didn't realize and what we didn't know is that my uncle, Kahu Abraham Akaka, was there on the beach.
Oh.
And as soon as we got in and I was chanting, well, we were all chanting, but as soon as the canoe touched the shore and we threw the lines out for people to hold the canoe into place, Uncle did a blessing. Now, that is the very first time that he and I actually collaborated in a blessing together.
Oh my.
And so that was really a chicken skin moment, and what a beautiful memory it was for us.
Oh, what a wonderful mo'olelo. What a wonderful story.
And you know what? I know we mentioned.
We do have some folks that as they're watching, they're commenting, and I do want to make sure that if they have questions that I pose it, so I don't want to lose that. So just take a moment. Okay. I want to recognize the folks that have come on board. We have Marty Burns is saying, aloha Friday, everyone. Marty has been with us since day one. Thank you, Marty, for being here. Here's Abella. Abella says, aloha Kahu, Danny, and Anna, and Kamaka. Abella is a wonderful friend of the Samajana Social Network. And Abella is saying, oh, please tell the story of Kahu Keli'i Taua asking you to be Kahu. Oh.
Oh. That is a very interesting story because Keli'i Taua and I knew each other even prior to being involved with the canoe, and he was one of 3 of the kahu that did the original blessing at Kualoa
for Hokulea.
But my connection to Keli'i was through music. They had a group called Nakioni Mana, which performed at the Hilton Hawaiian Village garden bar.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever they needed a substitute, they would give me a call and I'd go down with my guitar and join the group. And that seemed to be like almost every week. So we knew each other through music, Keli'i Taua. And then as we got more involved with Polynesian Voyaging Society, one of the projects was to actually make a canoe, a dugout canoe, using a koa log and using some of the ancient chants of which we had to learn. And so the tree that we had to cut down was up by the volcano area, and I believe it was in Keauhou.
It was an area called Keauhou.
Ahupua'a.
Yeah.
And it was on the ranch. And so Keli'i came to teach us, or to teach the crew members, the chants. Now, I was invited. I wasn't really a crew member at the time, but I was invited to join in with the group, and this was up by the volcano area on this Keauhou ranch. Now, one of the evenings, Keli'i gathered all the crew members, and they went in a tent, and they spent a while going over the chants. And I just wanted to maha'oi and 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 sat outside of the tent, but just intently listened to what they were doing and listen to the chants. And so after Kali'i went through the chants line by line, he would have the crew members
Repeat.
repeat. Now, after that was all done and they were ready to hit the sack, as they were leaving, I kind of started walking away. I didn't want them to know that I was eavesdropping. But Kali'i caught up with me and he said, Kanela, so did you hear anything of what we were doing? And I said, well, I just happened to overhear what you folks are doing and going over the chants. He said, okay, did you get any of the chants down? And I went, well, kind of. And so I repeated the chants to him, and he said, perfect, because you are now going to be the kahu.
Oh my!
This for this project. And I went, well, but I'm just an invitee. I'm not part of the crew. He said, no, you're going to be the kahu. He said, I live on Maui, but you're here on island.
Aye.
So that's how it all started, really. And that led not only through that project, but things that we still do today, like blessings. And we just blessed the 30th anniversary of Walmart in Kona this morning, which is why we're on Menehune time.
So that project, the Mauloa canoe, it was back in 1991. And it was started as a project to rekindle the cultural traditions of Hawaii in terms of canoe making. So it was felled by ko'i, by stone adze, and it was carved out and shaped primarily by ko'i as well.
Wow.
And so they were all dressed in traditional malo. All those that worked on the project to fell, shape, and create this va'a kaukahi, a single hulled canoe called the mauloa. And it was all done in the traditional cultural way. And it was really at a time when we were still trying to relearn our cultural traditions.
Yeah.
And so that's how you got started with that.
And there were
The
chicken
voyaging.
skin moments during that time of the project. Some of the crew members would ask me about things that they'd experienced and some of the dreams they had. And I said, well, we're kind of reawakening some of the ancient traditions of our kupuna. So things come through dreams, or messages come through dreams, or you may see things that are things out of the past. And I can share with you one interesting story in that while we were working on the project, and I didn't see this man, but there was some of the crew members said there was a Hawaiian man.
It's Tiger Spear.
Well, maybe it was Tiger Spear. Said, hey, I saw this Hawaiian guy in Malo,
in the forest.
In the forest, but looking at us. And kind of wondered, well, who's that guy just watching, but just standing there on the side in the forest? But he said, when that guy turned around, he became a pua'a. So we know who that was. That came.
Yeah. As that man stood at the edge of the clearing of the forest, and he turned and walked into the deeper foliage of the forest, he transformed into that pool.
Oh my!
Come on.
There were so many experiences that they had and things about that particular project as well. And even as they felled the tree with koi, they expected to take a greater length of time to fell it because they were doing it by hand, by stone adze, koi. And they actually accomplished it within a week's time. And when she was felled, she did not fall with
a crash.
She literally just lay down and gave of her life as a tree to now be reborn, so to speak, as a canoe. And as a tree, she would have a limited life, but as a canoe, her life would be extended beyond her earthly life in the forest as a tree.
My goodness.
Well,
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That was a great mo'olelo. We love the stories. We love the stories. If you just joined us, we're talking to Anna and Danny Akaka at their home on Moku Keawe. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take on small kind break and we'll be back. We're going to talk more stories and more chicken skin. We just look forward to that. So stay with us and we'll be right back.
Okay. So the Hawaiians consider pa'akai a great gift from the gods, and of which, the Hawaiian people use pa'akai. Medicinally, they used it as a preservative. They also use it for purification or for cleansing, like pikai ceremonies.
So when you step onto these kind of lands like Keohole, and you realize that, wow, there was that this precious gift that our ancestors, our kupuna, valued, still used today, used not only for, commonly as people know it, for seasoning and preservation, but for ceremony, spiritual ceremony. That is part of what is being continued, preserved, and passed on, right, to our children.
But this being like the sunniest part of the island, so this area, right, it was always known for salt gathering, like Kalaimano, all this entire coast, and that's what our ancestors did, right? They taught us what was special and what was good, and how to
malama, take care of it.
Yes.
I think part of our kuleana is to pass on the ike, pass on the knowledge. A lot of which was passed down to us from our kupuna. And, in that way, preservation, of knowledge and are things that are still valued, yeah.
well, but not only the Hawaiians, but everyone, especially if you live in the islands, if you live in Hawaii, understanding the value of salt, of pa'akai, and once again, you know, the understanding from our puna that pa'akai is a gift from the gods.
Last night in my dreams, I saw your face again. We were there in the sun on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. On a white sandy beach of Hawaii. On a white sandy beach of Hawaii.
You know, we couldn't go without some hula from Anna and hear your wonderful voice there, Danny.
Well, that was
That's a blast
nice.
from the past.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. That
Yeah,
was
great memories. You know, that was always a dream to one day visit Avini, where Kamehameha the Great, as a newborn babe, was sequestered from Mo'okini and Kohala through North Kohala up up the cliffs to Avini, where he was then raised as a child, a babe actually, and just an amazing history in Kohala, and it was always a dream, you know, to be able to visit, and there we were at Avini.
Abella is saying, "Love your beautiful hula, Anna." Um,
Oh, hello, Bella.
Abella is one of our favorite hula dancers here in Southern California. She
Oh,
dances
Mm.
quite regularly here in various different venues, and she also is quite proficient in Tahitian. She just participated in a heva in San Diego, or coming up, if I'm not mistaken. But she is just so wonderful. Lives in Long Beach and is
Oh,
one of our, yeah. Here we get DC Makaena. What's up, DC? Glad you found us. I know you were scolding me for being late. Blame the Menihunis, DC. I know we're supposed to be 12 o'clock, but the Menihunis have their own idea. No worry, brother. Okay, so he's saying, I'm mahalo flying out to Pu'uvai for guiding this uncle into this presentation. Getting a little bit late, Makuli. Thanks, Tita. Love you. I mean it. Aloha, Noval. What? You already left us, DC. You had to take a nap or what? Let us. DC, you too funny. So Makaenas over here. Those guys, Kolohi guys, they're always visiting us and giving us bad time. Oh, I guess Stan Tashiro said, "Oh, I just joined while fishing at the lake." You see, our guy,
oh,
this guy, he said he's fishing at the lake right now, and Stan, he don't tell nobody where he fish. He get one secret place he go fish, you know. And then he just go right now. Be right back. I got a bite. You know, Stan, you gotta let us know where you fishing, bro. You know, can keep secret. I'm gonna follow you. you, you see our ohana over here. Goodness. Now, before we go too further, I want to share, Danny, that your tenure with the Mauna Lani has been
mhm.
almost 40 years of your association with that property there.
Yes,
And I'm told you started off as a landscaper
yes.
at the tennis gardens, my notes say here. So you was on
Correct.
lens, and that you almost got fired for talking to the guests. Is that true?
That is true. You know, my boss at the time, and came up to me and said, you're talking too much to the guests. You're working and not talking. And I told him, but they came up to ask me questions about this place, the fish ponds, and
Hi.
so I can't walk away without answering them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that kind of put me on a little hot water. But I told him, you know, aren't the guests paying for us, our salaries when they stay here? So we want to make sure that we satisfy them and you know g- supply the answers and so what it turned out to be is that after that incident, I told the guests that would come in, and there was like a gathering each day of guests that would come and ask questions, and I would tell them, you know, I finish work at 3 o'clock, but if you are interested, I have to punch out of work, but I will be happy to take you on my own time and share with you the history of Kalahui Pua'a and the fish ponds here. So let's meet at 3:30 at the beach and pool desk, and whoever's there will go holo holo. And so that's how it all started. And for a while, I would just take them on my own, and tours would run anywhere from an hour to sometimes 3 hours, depending on the questions asked. And eventually, in time, that interest with our guests grew into the creation of a new position for me, and working with Pinky Crow in guest services, but in the position of a Hawaiian historian.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And of course, now as we go forward over here, you are now um, and I want to get this correctly, you are the director of, um, well, I have my notes over here. Your position over there now is?
Well,
Kahu
okay. So yeah, it at one time from Hawaiian historian, it grew into um, director of cultural affairs,
Ah, oh yeah. Ah, oh
but
yeah.
even and now it grew into another position as
Ah,
Kahu Hanai. Kahu
oh,
Hanai.
Kahu Hanai.
Yeah. So, of course, when I explain to people what that position is and what Kahu Hanai refers to, Kahu is a keeper and a guardian and a keeper of knowledge. And so, and in Christian terms, it would be more in the terms of like a shepherd herding in the sheep, the people, the followers. Um, but Hanai is a term that people think of it as to adopt, right? But it's taken from two words, Hana, which is to do or to perform, and Ai, which can mean to eat, but it also refers to feed. So in that position, I feed people who are interested not only physically, it could be through food, but spiritually through knowledge. And so that is my title, Kahu Hanai.
That is beautiful. That
So,
is beautiful.
Dan started at Mauna Lani at the resort, at the hotel, 42 years ago. But our history with Kalahui Pua'a, where Mauna Lani Resort is situated, started way back in 1972 when we were in college. And Larry Kimura was our teacher and in the Hawaiian language. the Hawaiian language department did not exist at that time. We actually had to petition the university to uh, create. We had to actually create our own degrees and petition the University of Hawaii to allow us to have a degree in Hawaiian studies. It was within the Department of the Indo-Pacific languages, but Larry was a visionary. He understood that the language and the cultural lifestyle practices of the kupuna of our people were passing with the elders, with the kupuna. And so he endeavored to document the manaleo, the Native Hawaiian speakers, and the things that they were the experts in, where there would be ahele a'ama, ulana lauhala, hakumele. He and he had no budget, so he utilized the most economical source of workers, and that was students. But that enabled us, and it created an amazing opportunity for us as students to help with doing the oral history documentation at that time in 1972. And he brought us here to Hawaii Island, his home island, because here he had access to where he could borrow his uncle's four-wheel drive Jeep. He could house us by having us sleep on his parents' pune'e, or his sister in her spare bedroom, or hali'i in the living room, wherever we. And we even had to pay for our own airfare.
Oh.
But what it did was it introduced us to these amazing places. Now, at that time, back in 1972, the highway, Quinka Highway, did not exist. And in order to get to Kalahui Pua'a, where Mauna Lani is situated today, you had to either come by boat from Kawaihai or from the Malka Road by horse or ikake, by donkey, or by four-wheel drive through from Kawaihai through Puoko. You had to meander along the shoreline on a one-lane crushed coral road at best, and then over sand. You reach the end of the road at Puoko, where the adjoining property to Kalahui Pua'a was. It's Paniau, where the Ruddle family owned and lived, in the cottages there. And you had to stand out there and ask permission to enter through their and continue through their property. So you'd stand outside and just go, "Ooh, Uncle George," and he'd look up
and that was Uncle George Ruddle.
Uncle George Ruddle. And you would ask for permission. So, may we go through Paniao? We're going to see Mama and Papa Kihe, Emily and Abraham Kihe at Kalahui Pua'a. And he would nod his head, aye. And it's out of respect, right? You ask permission to go through their place. But not only just that, it was because Uncle George was also sitting in his rocking chair on the porch with a 22 in his lap. That's a lot of respect. But that's what it took to get to Kalahui Pua'a. And as you go to a place and you interview kupuna who are busy at their work, they were the caretakers of the fish ponds and the property here at Kalahui Pua'a. And so you don't just make an appointment and say, "Oh, on this date at this time, I want to come and talk to you and interview and document." You go and you work side by side, not interrupting their work, but helping to do the work that they're tasked with. And by, as the conditions and weather and nature availed itself, as time availed itself in their schedule, then you document. But what that did was it allowed us to be there for an extended period of time to experience the treasures of that area with the natural fish ponds and the sites that were there with petroglyphs, canoe landings. And after a period of time, when as it took time, at the end of the day, after you're done with the work and the documenting, you'd gather. Dan folks had gone out diving. They went holo holo. They caught some fish that we could cook for dinner. We're sitting on the lanai around the table, talking story. And pretty soon, Larry has come back from a walk and he has composed a song of gratitude for the experience that we had there. Dan is putting the air to it. I'm choreographing with another classmate the hula to this newly composed mele. And we're sitting around talking story, eating, playing music and hula as the sun is setting. The moon and the stars are rising in the night sky on the shoreline at Eva Parker Wood's cottage at Kalahui Pua'a with Mama and Papa Kihei.
Wow.
But that was the inspiration for what we do today called Twilight at Kalahui Pua'a. Yeah, and sharing stories of the past as well as kanikapila and music and occasional hula. And there's a painting of our Eva Parker Woods cottage where we host Light at Kalahui Pua'a, which is usually set on the Saturday evenings closest to the full moon. And it's open to not only our hotel guests, but also to the community to come and join in and listen to the stories, enjoy the music and hula.
Have their picnic supper there on the lawn. And something we've done once a month for the past 27 going on.
Well, next month will mark our 27th year that we've done this.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. DC Makaena goes, no, I'm still here enjoying this. So chicken skin to listen. I love it. Glad to have you along for our Mo'olelo. And here's someone that was on our Aloha Friday show only just a couple weeks ago. He and his lovely, lovely wife joined us. And this is Iolani Kama'u. Iolani says,
Oh, we just saw them at Ace Hardware.
We just saw them
Annie
and 2 days ago.
Anna and Danny Akaka. So good we finally met at Ace Hardware in Waimea. Looking forward to your next Twilight concert. We enjoying today's program as we get ready to head off to Maui. Oh, so nice. Aloha,
have a good
trip. We're quick to say, this experience, an event at our Twilight at Kalahui Pua'a is really a very organic sharing. It's really not a concert per se. It's a unscripted, organic sharing of friends of ours that come to share on the porch, whatever they are comfortable sharing. Even if they're professional musicians, if they choose to just talk story or share in other ways, that's their prerogative, because they come out of the generosity and goodness of their hearts to share at the cottage at Kalahui Pua'a. And so we are so very blessed and so very grateful that they do that they're willing to come and do that for our community, because it's an event that's not just open to the community at large, but there's no charge to come and enjoy.
Here's Bella saying, Kahu Hanai, mahalo for all you do. You gather and share together. You two, so lovely. Twilight Talk story. So nice. Here is Nate Jones, who we work closely together to make all of this happen. Nate works all the magic behind the scenes and does the work. He says, mahalo for coming on the show. We had Aloha Shirt Guru Dale Hope on the show. And he mentioned to me that he saw you recently at Twilight at Kalahui Pua'a as well.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
Wonderful gentleman.
And we go back years with Tommy Holmes and the Hawaii Maritime Center. That was back in '88. And so many wonderful memories.
But speaking of Dale Hope, the book, the
Aloha Shirt.
Yeah,
Aloha Shirt book.
There's a photo of Dad.
Oh, really? Oh, wait.
I might have sent to you
Uh,
folks
I just
a
might.
photo of my dad as a model, and I
I
actually just happened to be in the studio in
mm,
Kaka'ako
yeah.
when we photographed that, and he was wearing the cocktail shirt.
I
For yeah, for was it Kahala shirts?
No, I
What is
I'm trying
Dale
to think if that
Hope's?
that was for Andrade or
It
one
was
of
for
the.
McInerney, but the maker of the shirt. Who's the
oh,
maker of the shirt?
I think I missed that one. Um,
uh,
at all.
It
That's great.
was it was an advertisement from McInerney. That's a
You
part
know,
of it too, the
but
Moana.
I called up Dale when I was going through the book, and I saw that photo of Dad, and I
yeah.
called up Dale, and I told Dale, do you know who that model is? Look on this page. And he looked and he went, oh, gee, I told him that was my dad. And that was where he got into politics. He was still teaching.
yeah.
And I was a little kid on the side in the studio while they were doing that. So Dale sent a copy of that book to Dad, and Dad
Ah,
had it in his Senate office in Washington, D.C.
so sweet. We've come almost to the end of our time together, but I
Okay.
um, I do have at least one mo'olelo that I would ask you to share.
Mhm.
And not too many people know about this particular picture, and I would love it if you would share with us um, this. This
Uh,
is this is an iconic picture taking around 1965, 66 or so. This is Martin Luther King in the middle in Selma, Alabama, with civil rights protest, and they're all wearing flower leis. What's the
yes.
story behind that?
So, um, Dr. Martin Luther King and my uncle, Kahu Abraham Akaka, were very close. And Dr. King actually came to Kawaiha'a Church. And so Uncle Abraham had
The mothers of
the
Kaiha'o,
mothers of Kawaiha'a
um,
make these leis, and some of I
plumeria
think
leis.
the
Yeah,
plumerias are from Kawaiha'a Church Cemetery, and then they sent the leis up.
they had a contingency of church members that actually flew up as a sign, as a show of solidarity and support, that marched. Also, they presented those leis from the congregation and Reverend Abraham Akaka to the members there. They presented these leis, which they wore during that march.
Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. Oh
So
my goodness.
a connection there with Dr. Martin, Reverend Martin Luther King.
Get more chicken skin again, I tell you.
yeah,
I would not be surprised if some of the plumeria came from the Akaka family cemetery, Hukchu Cemetery in
yeah.
Paoa either, because it's lined with those beautiful yellow plumerias.
Plumerias.
Oh goodness, my goodness. And
Yeah.
the uh, Abella and quite a few of the friends are popping in right now. I don't want to. If I folks, if I miss your comments, e kalamai, they're coming in quite quickly over here. I think I got just about everyone. I want to definitely acknowledge your comments over here. Stan Tashiro says Larry Kimura was awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
he was quite ahead of
and
his time.
and we were all together in Tahiti just a few weeks ago for a number of celebrations with our daughter Kalei, who is
The trustee for
trustee
OHA.
for OHA,
Yeah.
ah,
and
ah.
the signing of a treaty, cultural treaty,
There's a treaty
at
that's
Tapu Tapu Atea,
yes.
and the Hokulea was also there,
Wow.
and so that was a celebration of Hokulea's 50th anniversary and the people of Tautira.
Yeah, but also at Tapu Tapu Atea, very significant. Here, this site was chosen to have a signing of a treaty of the people of Polynesia from the greatest reaches of Polynesia, from Rapa Nui to Aotearoa to Hawaii and Tahiti Nui and Rarotonga in the center. They gathered there at Tapu Tapu Atea to sign a cultural treaty, a treaty of cultural support for each other as they're challenged to remain on their ancestral lands, indigenous lands, and to continue and perpetuate their cultural lifestyle practices through their language, their oli, their mele, their dance. This was a treaty that was signed by these indigenous peoples of Polynesia at Tapu Tapu Atea, which is acknowledged as the marae at Tapu Tapu Atea is acknowledged as the center or the pico of ancient navigational voyaging. And so to have that also paired together with the 50th anniversary and celebration of Hokulea is just chicken skin.
Larry Kimura was there.
Is a part of that. Yeah, a delegation.
Kalena Silva, my classmate, another
Dennis
classmate.
Kanae.
Yeah. Before we go, I must pass along hugs and big aloha to from Pualalea Hanamaikai. Pualalea lived in Kohala. She is now working at a charter school in Waimanalo. So she said, be sure to share my aloha with auntie and uncle. I passed that along from Pualalea right now. Oh, some mo'opuna
just came home.
The mo'os are here. Hello, mo'os. How you doing, mo'opuna?
Hello.
So cute. So cute. I like this t-shirt. SON, you get them right over there. You get that t-shirt right over there. We like that t-shirt. Well, mahalo, Anna and Danny for joining us.
And mahalo, Kamaka, for the work that you do, the great talk story work that you do.
Mahalo. We got to get part 2 because you sent me so many wonderful pictures. I wanted to get into the pa'u, and Anna, you shared, and I was reading about, and I didn't know about all what's involved in pahu writing. It's not just jumping on a horse and whatever, but there's protocol and there's things. We don't know about that, and we must again come back sometime. If it's okay, I'll have Nate reach out to you, and let's talk about pa'u. Let's talk about that because us over here on the continent, I don't say mainland because my mainland is the Aina. I live on the continent. We want to learn more about pa'u. Yeah. So if it's okay, we have to have part 2 and talk story. And we want the mo'os to be with us. The mo'opuna's got to be with us.
Oh yeah. With your piggy bank.
With the piggy bank, of course. I want to recognize just one more comment over here before we go. And this is from DC Makaena, my brother over here. He goes, both Anna and Danny are so easygoing, and their mana'o is being presented so much like my tutu lady who comes from Napopo and the Kahu district. And their method of letting the mele unfold in such a pleasant way is just like Tutu and the kupuna that they would talk story. So nahi ki'ea. Oh. So nicely put, DC. I love you, brother. Thank you so much. So we're going to say ahui ho malama pono to Anna and Danny Akaka and their mo'opuna over there. And until next time, we say take care. And ahui ho.
And as Tutupa would always say as we were leaving, Malama kino.
Oh,
take care of yourself. Take care of your body and your health.
Mahalo.
Kako.